My mom raised me as a single mother, never knowing who my father was because of the circumstances she was placed in. 23 years later, I took a DNA test and found my missing family. Posted by u/Mk Laxo. I, 23F, had grown up without a father. A little bit of background. My mom was addicted to drugs, so home wasn't an option for her to stay at anymore. She would hop from place to place, living where she could, whether it be with friends, boyfriends, drug dealers, etc. She later found out at the age of 19 she was pregnant after getting into a car accident. That was enough to scare her into the reality that she needed to grow up. She got her act together, went to college, and is now almost 10 years sober, living her best life. With that past in mind though, you can kind of understand why it wasn't anyone's fault not knowing. She had a lot of friends who were men, no shade, mom gotta do what you gotta do. My mother was young, dumb, and made decisions she regrets. But I never held that against her. Growing up, I didn't have any trust with men. I resented almost all the guys she would date or have over. I was never abused or SA'd, but I never let myself get close to or be alone with them at any moment. I would watch true crime with my grandma, so I knew what men did to little girls. I never had a father figure to go against that, so I never trusted them. They were all crappy anyways, and she deserved so much better. That also made me have the stigma that all men, especially black men my mom would date, weren't the ones to mess with. And for the record, my mom is white and I am mixed. After experiencing this, I had no intentions of meeting or knowing who my father was, because if he was anything like the men I saw, I didn't want anything to do with him. I would wonder, though, who he was, what he looked like, and if he was even alive or not. Fast forward to now, I'm engaged to my fiancé, 23M, going on 8 years. I have learned to trust through them and even have a better view on men while not completely hating, lol. I also got to know his father, who isn't perfect, but loves me like his own. As well as having my mother's father, who was always there if I was in trouble and would educate me on stereotypical men things like cars, fishing, and fixing things. I am extremely grateful for them both to be in my life. Me and mom are on really good terms now, and we would have frequent talks about who my father could be. All she remembers is, before she was in the car accident, she had eyes for a guy who worked at a liquor store and that would let her crash at his place before he left to a different state. She never remembered his name though. Last Christmas, my soon-to-be mother-in-law gifted us both ancestry DNA tests. My fiancé would always say things like, maybe this will help you find your dad. I would shrug it off or seem uninterested because I was more curious to see what ethnical background I had. 8 weeks after I sent off the test, we finally got results. I was shocked. Not only did I find out that I have multiple African countries in my percentile, I found my half-brother on my father's side. Who would have known this would change everything? I saw that we shared a whopping 25% of DNA. I got curious. My interest in finding who my dad was immediately sparked into existence. It was like I actually had a chance. My first thought was Facebook. And wouldn't you know, he had won. I messaged him explaining the situation. Before sending it, I had so many thoughts like what if he thought I was lying, so I made sure to send a screenshot of the results. What if he doesn't care or not want anything to do with me? I hesitated a lot, but after staring at the send button, something inside me said, push it, and it happened. Days go by and nothing. Until there was something. He was so happy to hear there was another person in his tribe. He's very down to earth. I was so relieved I started bombarding him with questions, but also apologizing if I was bothering him. He was always late to reply, but I was patient. I expected the worst and was ready if he decided one day to just stop replying altogether. He finally told me his father's name, and I decided to search for him as well, but found nothing. It wasn't until he posted a picture with him and tagged his Instagram that I would find him. I DM'd him on Instagram and was so amazed by the response. Turns out, even though he doesn't remember my mother, he lived in the same area as her before moving out of state and worked at a liquor store. Things started to add up. He gave me his number so that we could keep in touch and talk about other little details that might spark his memory. He would constantly tell me, "You look like us, that's why I'm still actively invested." He said he would take a DNA test as well from the same website so we both would know. He has 5 other children and is a big family man. He loves his kids and would talk to me about them. Since we both had our hopes up, he would shoot notes like your brother, your sister, your aunt, like he was accepting me even though he didn't know 100% for sure yet. All we knew was that his son was my brother. But I had little doubts, like what if it's off by a bit, maybe he's my cousin and not my brother? Regardless, we are family, right? I had to prepare myself for the worst just in case. After talking for 4 months, we finally got the results back. It was a normal day. I was on my phone when he sent me a screenshot of the results that read, You and me are a match of 50% daughter and father. My fiancé was cooking dinner when I showed him. I broke down in his arms. It was like a huge weight had lifted off my shoulders. My heart was racing. It felt like I was having a panic attack that was filled with joy. I finally got answers that I wasn't even searching for until now. We talked on FaceTime for the first time, and both cried. He apologized for not being there for any of my firsts. First walk, talk, love, heartbreak, everything a father should be there for his daughter. I told him he had nothing to be sorry for. He had no idea and wouldn't have known. He's been so nice and everything I could ask for in a father. I can't lie, it's a bit weird for me, will need some getting used to. I mean, I don't even call my fiancé's dad. Dad. I never had someone to call that until now. He has messaged me every day since then, telling me good morning and have a great day. And that we will talk more in depth and make plans to meet up to see my other side of the family. I'm excited, as well as nervous. This is a whole other chapter in my life that's about to unlock. I always felt that things happen for a reason, and that since it's happening right now, it's the best time. I truly can't wait for this adventure. I can't thank my mother-in-law enough for this. I mean, I always wanted to do a DNA test, but it was always too expensive or I'll get around to it. I'm forever grateful. Update 2 years 1 month later. It's been a while since I posted this. You can find the original post on my profile. Right after I posted this, I met my dad a couple of months later. My now husband and I flew to Arizona, and he greeted me with one of my younger brothers, 21 at the time. I gave him the biggest hug, and we both cried. The rest of the trip was hours of catching up. I brought baby pictures to show, told stories of my childhood, and it was sudden, but we even went on a little road trip together to Sedona with his wife and my 3 younger siblings. It was definitely fast-paced for my brain to even react. However, all of this couldn't have worked out better. Him, my siblings, and his wife all accepted me with open arms. It was the trip of a lifetime. We had our moments when there were no words, just realization. I had a father who happens to be a great guy, and he had a daughter that he missed out on so much with. To this day, he apologizes for not being there. That if he knew. My life wouldn't have had to be missing that other piece that created me. Because he is everything I am that's different from my family. We are both patient and good listeners. We are both fire signs, so we immediately bonded, lol. We are both introverted extroverts and wear our hearts on our sleeves. He is spiritually inclined, and we can talk freely about our beliefs and discuss similarities. He's Christian and I'm a scientific believer / semi-Christian. We are empathetic, and when we talk, it's so natural, like I have always known him and that he was just waiting for me. Later that year, I got married. And of course, him and my siblings were invited, and they came. His wife is shy and decided to stay behind with my sister who is autistic and doesn't travel well. Which she is my only sister, by the way, and I always wanted one. My other side of the family was so excited to meet them and questioned if he would be walking me down the aisle. I responded with, no, and he's okay with that, because I don't know if it's just me, but we just met and we're still not that close, so I felt like that job was made for someone who would literally be giving me away. So my grandpa did, and everything was beautiful. We did have a father-daughter dance though. Literally a thing I never thought would happen. He even made a speech that wasn't expected, but man did he deliver. Tears were flowing from everyone. I still danced with my mom but also encouraged all mothers and daughters to come up and dance as well. It was to slipping through my fingers from Mamma Mia. Both moments were so special and made that the best night of my life. Now I've gotten even closer with him and his side of the family. People have reached out and added me on Facebook and even texted me out of the blue, informing me they were from his side. I've never felt so loved by strangers in my life. It made me think of myself and how I was content with never finding this out. Being okay if I had never gotten a DNA test. Where would my life be right now? This was life-changing, and I thank a higher power for sending me such amazing people that happen to be of my own flesh and blood. I hope you all like this update. It will probably be the last. Happy endings are always my favorite, and hopefully I can inspire others that are in my situation. Even if it is a dead end, I still recommend finding out where you came from and what your history is. It was fascinating finding out the little traits I had that were passed down to me. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. This is very heartwarming. But a question, how did your parents meet? Didn't they know each other, or was it just a one-night thing? Ops response. So it was complicated. I don't know if you can see my other post, it won't let me link it, but she was in and out of homes, and he let her crash for a while. They both were young and supposedly only had a couple of nights together. My mom said he had to leave town because he had a 4-year-old, my older brother I found on Ancestry, and left way before she knew she was pregnant. She had other partners between them. I've shown pictures to both of them of each other, and they don't remember each other at all. Granted, this was 25 years ago, haha. Commenter 2. I love this for you and your bio dad, plus his extended family. Question: how did your mom react when you first found out about your bio dad? Did she recognize him? Was she happy that you and your bio dad reunited? Ops response: she was just as shocked as I was, and she was all for me finding out. If she was worried, she didn't show it. I think she trusted that he was a good man from the screenshots I sent her of messages between him and me. If anything, she was excited to meet or reunite with him as much as I was, haha. Since she was just as curious,